First time when I was in Skopje to see the collection was in spring last year. So it was a research trip that was part of this process of making this exhibition, which I find really interesting and in a way impressive because it's so heterogeneous. So you can see a lot of different works and organized in different ways. So you can look for your own paths through the narratives of the collection. And basically, this is how I came also to the title of the work, which is Filigran. Filigran is a technique of making mostly jewelry, but not only jewelry, from tiny metal strings, so gold and silver, so which creates then very delicate picture and complicated actually picture. So this visit to Skopje was like very important and crucial for organizing and structuring the work. And also this filigrane thing somehow resonates to the city itself, which is very multi-layered in many different ways. Like you can see that in this context section, but also through the works of all of the artists presented here. So like different and many layers of the history from before the earthquake, but from the earthquake on, really, it's really visible. I decided to select the works that are made in a different way and in different materials than the works that I usually make. So they are made of stone and metal and different collage of materials, and they are all sculptures. And so they are organic and abstract in a way, but also this is what I realized also recently, that they're very, very charged with the different meanings that are also rooted in the political situation and the moments of that time and also now. And then in relation to that, I somehow structured my works around it. So it's this series of paper cuts on the wall, but also portraits of the city, which are a kind of visual index or label for the installation itself. This was the way how I selected the sculptures. There is one sculpture that is maybe different than the other ones. It's the sculpture Mother and the Child, which is done in a really realistic manner. So it's a sculpture of a female figure with a child figure one is dark brown and the other one is white. So it's a story about as I understood it, as something like between life and death. So it was made right after the earthquake, and I connected it with this group of works of mine that are dealing with contemporary moments and conditions of work and existence and way of spending our time and working time and free time and so on. So there is also this layer of objects in the installations, which are pedestals, like platforms, theater platforms, and furniture from the museum. So it was designed for the cafe, and it was a part of the lobby, so where the people can sit, and they're still in a way used. And I wanted how to import those objects into the installations, because they are somehow always they're already old but nicely designed in that time, and somehow they're supporting all this system of art institution, let's say, in the collection and people also the audience. So they are now part of this installation, so people can sit on them. They're, let's say, free to use, and also these elements. And altogether, they create this, let's say, environment in which audience and artworks and collection coexist together in the space. So there is no, let's say, mystification or division between the audience, objects, arts, and so on. So it's a place for all these things and positions to meet. The elements, these platforms, they are also for very recognizable as one of the most important elements in theater and performance art. In that way, so they're creating the stage for all this. So somehow this situation is also staged and performed for the exhibition, for the whole exhibition in general. As there are elements from Skopje Museum that are used in the installation, which gives them another layer of, I don't like that word, but in a way of value. I also used for one installation on the wall the elements from Kunsthalle. So they are not furniture, they are not in that way ready to be used, but they are leftovers of previous displays or exhibitions. So there is this metal sculpture that is made of material that were found here. So it's a kind of recycled sculpture, metal recycled sculpture combined with those papers, ripped off papers that are behind me now. And the element that we didn't mention, but that is also part of it, are 3 videos. It's a video installation of like a video made of 3 chapters. Those are 3, let's say, partly abstract performative videos that are done with different approach. So one is documentary, one is staged, and the third one are performances done by myself as kind of like basic pedestrian performances. This video triptych was inspired by this work from the collection called Screen for Skopje by Malgorzata Potočka, Polish artist, and actually this structure of a reportage that somehow position performance art and video arts in the video collection, which is always hard somehow to make an overview of. And in the space, they're not projected, they're on these highly positioned screens, which I think is a position of screens and informations in nowadays public sphere. So you very often have those like flat screens that are above you, and you have to communicate with the information that they are giving you. So either you're looking for your like flight number, or your number when your food is ready, or your price, or the world catastrophe. And yes, and also this thing with how the videos are, the concept of the films and how they are displayed, is also somehow referring to this notion that the earthquake in Skopje had a huge media coverage in the 60s. So somehow I wanted also to go through that filter, also through the moving picture language, somehow to mark those spots or those topics, or let's say those impressions from the historical event or from the events from nowadays.